Deyaniracavazos, and I'm an LPC-associate from the state of Texas. I also own my own private practice called Co's Mental Health Services, and I make videos dedicated to counselors and counselors in training. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing tips with you on how to prepare and study for the CPCE and NCE. And for anyone who might not know, those are exams that counselors and counselors in training take in order to be able to become a licensed counselor or LPC-associate. I'm also going to be sharing a really cool new resource with you all, so definitely stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get started with this video. Okay everyone, so tip number one is to gather all of your resources and study materials. Get organized. And I have a couple videos dedicated to free resources when it comes to the NCE if you want to go ahead and check those out in my dedicated NCE playlist. This is just a personal recommendation, but I definitely recommend sticking to 1 or 2 study materials and resources so that way you don't get overwhelmed with staying organized and staying on track with way too many things. It can become very easy, super quick to become overwhelmed by so many different study materials. Plan out how you want to study. Do you want to study alone? Do you want to study partly with another person or with a group of people, with other students? And because we're on the topic of study materials, I am so excited to introduce you to today's video sponsor, which is NCE Exam Easy Prep. So huge thank you to them for partnering with me to do this video, and huge thank you to you all watching, because it would not be possible for me to be able to do this without you all watching and supporting my videos. The Easy Prep app was founded by a fellow licensed professional counselor who is passionate about helping others. So Catherine graduated from Denver University in 2020 with a master's in counseling psychology with a concentration in clinical mental health counseling. I also graduated in 2020, so I hear that year and I'm like, we crawled to the finish line. And she actually also used the Rosenthal book to study for her exams because she couldn't find any other study material that she liked. So she ended up reconnecting with her cohort and fellow students and ended up finding out that so many of them ended up struggling to find materials that weren't clunky or just completely out of date. And she found out that so many students ended up having to retake these exams like the CPCE and NCE multiple times. How many of us here can relate to that struggle? Because you all know that I do not shy away from talking about this frustration here on my channel, the many obstacles that so many students have to face. So Catherine and her partner, who actually works in software, ended up designing an app that could help others study and pass their CPCE and NCE. NCE Easy Prep was made to help you study anywhere, anytime, and even offline. So if you happen to be in the parking lot of your internship site eating your lunch, highly specific scenario, but if you know, you know. As students, we know how important it is to manage our time wisely and maximize our time. This app has NCE and CPCE practice questions, study materials, and an exam simulator, which is really cool. So you can totally pretend like you're on exam day, do the exam simulator, and just pretend until it becomes muscle memory and you feel more confident and comfortable with the material that you're studying, and you even get to track your progress. So when I tried this app out, because y'all know I had to try it first and make sure it was something I even wanted to share with you all, I love that you can save questions that you end up getting wrong or questions that you just simply want to save. If you're having trouble with them, spend more time reviewing them, and it's so easy to do. When I tell you all that I wish I would have had this when I was studying for the NCE and for the CPCE, I mean, my life would have been so much easier. It's so important for you to use your study materials in a way that works for you. And personally, I am the kind of learner who has to read, write, and listen. Like, I have multiple ways of learning. So anything that I utilize to study, I have to make sure that I am incorporating those components. So it's important to know what kind of learner you are as well. If you watch my dedicated NCE videos, then you know I used the purple book to study for my NCE back in 2021. And I also used a study guide that my grad school friends shared with me to pass the CPCE. So shout out to my grad school friends. I could not have done it without you. I ended up passing both of my exams on my first try, but y'all, it was brutal. Like, I remember just walking out of these exams with complete brain fog. It just felt so overwhelming because I didn't feel confident at all, which is why it is so special that I got to partner with NCE Easy Prep. So if this app sounds like something that you'd be really interested in trying, I will share the links down below in my description box in case you want to go ahead and do a free trial, or if you want to go ahead and get started and have 20% off when you choose from their monthly subscriptions. So moving on to my next tip, and that is to create a study plan for yourself. I've said it in a previous video, and the same goes for the CPCE. You guys, do not go in winging this exam. Take your time to study, because when you are in grad school, so much information is being thrown at you while at the same time you still have classes going on or possible internship, and then you're having to study for this test on top of it, and it can be very easy to fall into the trap of, well, you know, I should know it. I went through grad school, I should know all this information. But it's so important to have a refresher and really see where you're at with some of these materials, because you might have taken a course like over a year ago, and it's always a good idea to just refresh and see where you're at. Creating a study plan will also help keep you accountable, which is so important, especially if you have a long time in between when you're going to take your test, or even a short time. It's really good to just stay accountable within yourself or with your partners or whoever you're studying with. So really get to know what categories are going to be tested and create that study plan dedicated to time for each category that you need to study. It's also important to figure out when is your best time to study. Are you someone who has the most energy during the morning, during the evenings? Are you going to have to study in between work, as some of us have to do as students? Maybe you're working and you need some time in between to study. Something that I share with my consultation clients is that it is so important to remember that when it comes to the NCE, not all categories are tested equally. There are some that have more weight to them, and it's important to know this. So I'm also going to link down below that information for you. Whatever you do, do not take the NCE without looking through that packet and seeing which categories are tested more, so that way you know which ones you should focus on more. And it's also important to become informed on the requirements when it comes to the CPCE for your university, because some universities might count a passing grade at a 75, or for some it might be at an 80%. So it's so important to know what your specific university requires as passing, because like Catherine shared, her university actually required for students to have a passing grade for each specific category within the CPCE. That way you know exactly what to expect, which actually leads me into the next tip. And this can seem super simplistic, but it is so important, and that is to be well informed. Whatever you do, do not wait for professors or for other students or for anyone else to share this important information with you. It is one of the biggest mistakes that I made in grad school early on, and I had to learn the hard way to always advocate for myself or to ask questions. And it was really hard for me to do that at first, but again, I learned the hard way that if I'm not looking out for myself, sometimes we do have grad school friends that are there, but it's so important for us to still advocate for ourselves. Both are definitely true that grad school programs should definitely be doing a better job of informing students of topics like these that I shared with you within this video. And it's also true that we cannot count on them to do that, and it's so important for us to be empowered and to advocate for ourselves and to ask the questions. And so lastly, I just want to dedicate a little bit of time to encouraging you. If this is your first time taking any of these exams, I just want to send so much encouragement your way. You are doing this. You are one step closer to becoming a therapist, a counselor, and that is amazing. You are killing it. You are doing great, and it is completely normal to have nerves, to be nervous or anxious when it comes to these exams. But I hope these tips and others in my NCE playlist are helpful to you when it comes to preparing for this. And I appreciate you all so much who have reached out to me sharing that after watching my videos, it really helped you when it came to passing your NCE. It means the world to me when you all reach out to me and tell me that you watch my videos and you passed your NCE exam, or maybe you didn't pass the first time and then you ended up finding my videos and that inspired you to study and try again. If you are taking this exam for the second or umpteenth time, doesn't matter how many times, I want you to know that there is no shame in that. These exams are just crazy and they are so difficult, and the wording as well, as we learned in our assessments classes, if you all took some assessment classes, is not created equally for all minorities, for all types of learners across the board. And so if you've taken this exam and you've asked yourself, what is wrong with me, why can I not pass this, know that this is not your fault. And I hope that these videos encourage you to know that we can work smarter and not harder. And I feel like these academic settings and these exams specifically have a way of making us carry on the shame or the guilt or the burden and the blame within ourselves. And I just want you to know how incredible you are and how amazing you are for wanting to even be in this profession and help your community and help the people around you this way. I'm wishing nothing but the best for you all, and if you have any questions, definitely leave them down in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Take care, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye everyone.